The alien Warden's strike came fast, a blur of chitinous limb cracking across the feline's skull. The cat, a scraggly orange thing that had somehow survived 3 years aboard the Kethran labor ship, crumpled against the metal floor. Blood matted its fur. The holding bay went silent. 200 human prisoners stopped moving, stopped breathing, stopped existing for just a heartbeat. Then a girl spoke. "You shouldn't have done that." Her voice was soft, barely audible over the hum of the ship's engines. She couldn't have been more than 12, thin as wire, dirt smudged across her cheeks. Her name was Claire, and she'd been taken from Earth 6 months ago. The Warden, a towering Kethron with 4 arms and compound eyes that glittered like black diamonds, swiveled its triangular head toward her. Silence, livestock. Claire didn't move, didn't flinch. She just stared at the dead cat, then at the Warden, then at something beyond both of them that no one else could see. "That was Ginger," she whispered. "She was the last thing from home." The Warden raised another limb, this one tipped with a neural prod that could drop a grown man in seconds. Around the bay, humans began to shift. Small movements, barely perceptible. A man named Derek, a construction worker from Minnesota, flexed his fingers. A woman called Lynn, former Marine, adjusted her stance by inches. A teenager named Marcus, all lean muscle and barely contained rage, stopped pretending to look away. The Kethrans had made mistakes before. They'd underestimated human endurance, human adaptability, human stubbornness, but those were abstract things, data points in a file somewhere. What they'd never properly calculated was what happened when you pushed humans past the point of fear, past the point of self-preservation, past the point where survival mattered more than fury. Claire stood up, slowly. Her chains rattled. "You shouldn't have done that," she said again, louder this time. The Warden's translator crackled. "Sit down." "No." The neural prod came down. Claire's body seized, every muscle locking as electricity coursed through her. She collapsed, twitching, foam at her lips. The Warden made a sound that might have been satisfaction. Then Derek moved. Not running, just moving, with the kind of terrible calm that comes right before violence. Lynn was a half-second behind him. Then Marcus. Then a dozen others. Then 50. Then all of them. The Kethrons had weapons. They had armor. They had size and strength and evolutionary advantages that had made them apex predators on 7 worlds. What they didn't have was experience with a species that would burn itself to ashes if it meant taking the fire to their enemies. Claire, still shaking on the floor, smiled through bloody teeth. The Warden had struck the cat, and now the humans would strike back. The first Kethran died before it could raise an alarm. Derek's chain, 3 feet of reinforced durasteel meant to bind human wrists, wrapped around the Warden's throat. The alien clawed at its neck, 4 arms flailing, but Derek had leverage, and 3 years of suppressed hatred. He pulled. The exoskeleton cracked. Purple ichor sprayed across the floor. Lynn was already moving toward the weapons rack. A Kethran guard turned, mandibles clicking in alarm, raising a plasma rifle. She was faster. Her shoulder caught it in the thorax, driving it backward into the wall. The rifle clattered free. Lynn caught it mid-fall, spun, and fired. The blast took the head off another guard coming through the doorway. "Seal the bay!" someone shouted. Marcus was already there, his hands flying across the control panel he'd watched the Kethrons use 1,000 times. The heavy doors began to grind shut. A guard tried to squeeze through the narrowing gap. The doors didn't stop. The wet crunch echoed through the bay. Claire pushed herself to her knees, still shaking from the neural shock. A woman named Angela, a doctor from Seattle, crouched beside her. "Can you stand? I can fight." "That's not what I asked. I can fight," Claire repeated. The bay had become chaos. Humans swarmed over the remaining Kethrans like ants over beetles, using chains, tools, bare hands, anything that could maim or kill. The aliens were stronger individually, but they'd never faced coordinated human desperation. One Kethran guard managed to activate its energy shield, a shimmering blue barrier that should have been impenetrable. 3 humans tackled it anyway, driving it to the ground, finding gaps in the shield by trial and error and dying in the process. The 4th human, through the gap, drove a maintenance spike through the alien's eye cluster. Derek stood over the dead Warden, breathing hard, purple blood dripping from his hands. He looked at the sealed door, then at the growing crowd of armed humans. "They'll come," he said. "Every Kethran on this ship. Maybe 200 of them." "Let them," Lynn said. She checked the plasma rifle's charge. "We've got their weapons now. We've got 12 rifles and maybe 50 shots between them," Derek corrected. "Against 200. A man named Victor, an engineer from Texas, stepped forward. He'd been quiet for 3 years, head down, obedient. Now his eyes burned. "The engine room is 3 decks down," he said. "I've seen the schematics on their displays. Quantum fusion core. If we overload it, we can take the whole ship." "That'll kill us too," Angela said. Victor smiled. It wasn't a happy expression. "I didn't say I was planning to survive this. I said I was planning to win." Claire stood, wobbling but upright. She walked to where Ginger's body lay and knelt beside it. For a moment the battle raged around her, and she ignored it all. One small hand resting on orange fur that would never be warm again. "We're not all dying today," she said quietly. Then louder to everyone, "They have escape pods. I've seen them. Deck 7, port side." Derek turned. "How many?" "Maybe 30 pods. 4 people each. That's barely half of us. Then we make sure the right people get on them," Claire said. She stood, picked up a piece of broken Kethran armor, tested its weight. "The fighters stay. The ones who can't fight, the injured, the kids, they go. We buy them time." Lynn laughed, a harsh sound. "When did you become tactical command, little girl?" "When I stopped being scared," Claire said. She looked at the sealed door. Already they could hear movement on the other side, clicking and chittering, the sound of an army assembling. "They're going to cut through in minutes. We need teams. Engine room, escape pods, and a holding force here." Derek studied her for a long moment, then nodded. "You heard her. Victor, take 10 people to engineering. Rig that core to blow. Angela, get the non-combatants to deck 7. Everyone else, we hold this position until they're away." The door began to glow red as cutting torches started working from the other side. Marcus chambered around in his stolen rifle. "For Ginger," he said. 200 voices answered as, "1, for Ginger." The door exploded inward in a shower of molten metal. Kethran shock troops poured through, mandibles wide, energy weapons blazing. The front line of humans met them with stolen rifles and improvised weapons, trading fire at point-blank range where armor meant nothing and only killing mattered. Victor's team was already gone, vanishing into the ventilation shafts that honeycombed the ship. The Kethrans had built them wide enough for their own maintenance drones, never imagining humans would use them as highways. Angela led 36 people toward the port corridor, moving fast and quiet while the battle drew every enemy eye. Claire stood behind an overturned workbench, firing a plasma rifle that was too big for her hands. The recoil nearly knocked her down with each shot, but her third blast caught a Kethran in the leg joint and it went down screaming. Lynn grabbed her shoulder. "Conserve your shots. Aim for the gaps in their armor. Neck, joints, under the arms." "I know," Claire said, firing again. This time she hit where she aimed. The Kethrans had numbers and firepower, but the bay's narrow entrance forced them into a kill box. Bodies piled up, human and alien alike, creating a barricade that slowed the assault. Derek coordinated the defense from behind a support pillar, shouting orders that somehow cut through the chaos. "Fall back to secondary positions. Don't let them flank." A Kethran heavy trooper pushed through, twice the size of its companions, wearing full combat plating. Its plasma cannon charged with a rising whine. Marcus threw himself forward, sliding under the blast, and drove his rifle barrel up into the soft tissue beneath its jaw. He pulled the trigger. The alien's head vanished in purple mist. Then the rifle clicked empty. "Out!" Marcus yelled. "Here!" Someone tossed him another weapon. He caught it one-handed, rolled behind cover as return fire scorched the air where he'd been. 3 decks down, Victor's team reached the engine room. The door was sealed, biometrically locked to Catherine's signatures only. A woman named Sophie, who'd been a chemist before her abduction, pulled a vial from her pocket. Acid, she explained. Been brewing it for months from cleaning supplies. Never knew what I'd use it for. You've been planning this? Victor asked. Haven't we all? The acid ate through the lock mechanism in 40 seconds. The door hissed open. Inside, the fusion core pulsed with barely contained energy, a sphere of light that hurt to look at directly. Catherine technicians spun toward them, reaching for alarms. Victor's team didn't hesitate. They'd left Mercy 3 years and uncounted abuses behind. On Deck 7, Angela's group reached the escape pod bay. The pods were there, sleek Catherine lifeboats meant for emergency evacuations. A single guard stood watch. More surprised than prepared. He died before he could speak. Get them loaded, Angela ordered. Children first, then injured, then anyone who can't hold a weapon. A boy named Ethan, maybe 10 years old, clutched her arm. What about you? I'm going back. But you're a doctor. They need doctors. Angela smiled, pressed something into his hand. A data chip. That's every Kethron medical file I could access. Physiology, weaknesses, how to hurt them. Get it to someone who matters. Tell them what happened here. Tell them humans don't forget. Ethan's eyes filled with tears, but he nodded. Back in the holding bay, the human line was breaking. Too many Kethrans. Too few shots remaining. Derek took a blast to the shoulder and went down. Lynn dragged him behind cover, her own leg bleeding from shrapnel. This is it, she said. Not yet. Derek forced himself up, picked up a length of pipe. We bought them 15 minutes. We can buy 15 more. Claire's rifle finally died, the charge pack completely drained. She dropped it, picked up a Kethron blade from a corpse. It was heavy and curved wrong for human hands, but it would cut. A Kethron officer pushed through the breach, shouting commands in its clicking language. It saw Claire, saw a small human child with a weapon she could barely lift, and its mandibles spread in what might have been laughter. It stopped laughing when she moved. Claire was small, but 3 years of labor had made her quick. But she ducked under its first strike, came up inside its guard, and drove the blade up under its chest plate. The Kethran stumbled. She twisted, pulled, struck again. It fell. She stood over its body, breathing hard, covered in purple blood. Ginger was mine, she whispered. And you took her from me. An explosion rocked the ship. Then another. Victor's voice crackled over the intercom system, somehow patched into the Kethran communications network. The fusion core is now set to overload. You have 12 minutes to evacuate. This message will not repeat. In the escape pod bay, the last pod sealed shut. 32 humans, mostly children, jettisoned into space. In the holding bay, the remaining fighters smiled. 12 minutes. They could hold for 12 minutes. The Kethrons understood death in the abstract. They'd conquered 17 species, enslaved populations across 40 worlds, built an empire on the calculus of fear and subjugation, but they'd never encountered a species that would weaponize its own extinction. The announcement changed everything. Kethran troops stopped advancing. Officers barked contradictory orders. Some aliens turned and ran for the escape vectors. Others held their ground, uncertain whether to believe the threat. A few kept fighting, driven by pride or duty or simple disbelief that livestock could threaten a warship. Derek used the confusion. Push, forward, take the corridor! The humans surged, not away from death but toward it, driving into the wavering Kethran line with fists and blades and empty rifles swung like clubs. They fought with the terrible freedom of the already dead, spending lives like currency to buy seconds. Lynn put down 3 aliens before a plasma bolt caught her in the chest. She fell without a sound. Marcus screamed and charged the shooter, tackling it through a doorway. Neither came back out. In the engine room, Victor watched readouts climb toward critical. His team was down to 4 people now. The Ketherons had found them, sent security forces. 3 of his engineers had died holding the door while he worked. Sophie stood beside him, her makeshift acid bombs ready. How long? She asked. 8 minutes. The Kethran escape pods are launching. I can see them on the display. Good. Means we're winning. A Kethron breaching charge blew the reinforced door off its hinges. Sophie threw her bombs without hesitation, melting the first wave of troops. The screaming was terrible. She picked up a rifle and kept firing until something hot punched through her stomach and she sat down hard. "Victor," she gasped. "Don't stop. Never planned to." He sealed the engine room with an emergency lockdown, trapping himself and the remaining Kethrons inside. Then he started pulling safeties, overriding protocols, doing everything the Kethron engineers had been trained never to do. The fusion core began to pulse faster, brighter, hotter. On the bridge, the Kethran captain received damage reports with mounting horror. Core breach imminent. Half his crew already evacuated. Humans rampaging through 3 decks. Impossible. Livestock didn't do this. Couldn't do this. He activated the ship-wide channel. "Attention, human prisoners. Cease hostilities immediately. We will negotiate terms. We will grant freedom. Transport to your homeworld. Reparations. End this now." Claire heard it through speakers, in the holding bay. She stood among bodies, human and alien, her stolen blade dark with blood. Around her, maybe 40 humans remained standing, all wounded, all exhausted, all smiling. "No," she said simply. Derek limped to the communications panel, slapped the transmit button. "You want terms? Here's ours. You die, who we die. And when our people find the wreckage, they'll know what you did to us. They'll know we fought back. They'll come for every ship you have, every world you stole, and they won't stop until your empire is ash." He cut the transmission. The captain stared at his view screen, at the small human settlement on Earth that he'd raided 6 months ago. Insignificant. Primitive. They didn't even have faster-than-light travel yet. How could creatures so limited be so incomprehensibly dangerous? "Abandon ship," he ordered. "All remaining personnel, evacuate immediately." In the holding bay, the Kethrons finally broke. They ran, scrambling over each other to reach escape routes. The humans let them go. There was no point to killing anymore. The ship itself would do that job. Claire walked to the viewport, pressed her hand against the cold glass. Earth hung in the distance, blue and beautiful, and impossibly far away. She'd never see it again. She'd known that from the moment she stood up, the moment she spoke, the moment she decided that some things mattered more than survival. Angela appeared beside her, somehow still alive despite the burns across her side. "The pods got away clean," she said. "The kids are safe. Good. 3 minutes left. I know." They stood together watching stars. Victor's voice came over the intercom one last time, calm despite the alarms shrieking around him. "To everyone still aboard, it's been an honor. Tell them we didn't break. Tell them we never broke." Derek joined them at the viewport, Lynn's dog tags clutched in his fist. More survivors gathered. 19 humans who'd chosen this ending. They didn't speak, didn't need to. They'd said everything that mattered when they decided to fight. The fusion core hit critical mass. The explosion was visible from Earth's surface, a new star that blazed for 17 seconds before fading. The Kethran labor ship, designated Harvester 7, carrying 200 human prisoners and 300 alien crew, ceased to exist. But 32 escape pods drifted in the debris field, their emergency beacons screaming into the void. And on the data chip in Ethan's pocket were the coordinates of 40 Kethran worlds, 17 slave markets, and the complete schematics of an empire built on suffering. The Kethrans had struck the cat. The girl had warned them. Now humanity would learn what had happened in orbit above their world, and then the real war would begin. The rescue came 18 hours later. Earth's early warning satellites had tracked the explosion, flagged the anomaly, dispatched the only vessel humanity had that could reach orbital space, the CSS Defiance, a retrofitted cargo hauler with experimental drives and more hope than armor, found the pods drifting in a debris field that still glowed with residual radiation. Captain Richard Grant stood on the bridge, staring at the wreckage through enhanced viewers. He'd served in 3 wars, seen combat on 4 continents, thought he'd witnessed every flavor of violence humanity could produce. The scattered remains of the alien vessel told him he'd been wrong. "Life signs?" he asked. 32 confirmed, his scanner operator reported. All human. All alive. Get them aboard. Fast. The recovery took 2 hours. Grant met them in the cargo bay as they stumbled off the rescue shuttles, wrapped in thermal blankets, eyes hollow with things no person should have seen. Children, mostly. Some teenagers. A few adults too injured to fight. Every one of them stared at him like they weren't sure he was real. A boy approached, maybe 10 years old, clutching something in his fist. "Are you in charge?" Ethan asked. "I'm the captain, son." "Then you need to see this." He held out the data chip. "It's from Dr. Angela. She said to give it to someone who matters. She said to tell you that humans don't forget." Grant took the chip, studying the boy's face. Whatever childhood had been there was gone, burned away and replaced with something older and harder. "Where's Dr. Angela now?" "Dead, with the others. They stayed behind so we could escape. They destroyed the whole ship just to kill the aliens." Grant's blood went cold. How many stayed behind? Maybe 170. They knew they'd die. They did it anyway. The chip felt impossibly heavy in Grant's palm. He looked at the survivors, really looked at them. Burns, scars that spoke of years, not months. These children had been taken from Earth's surface, stolen by something humanity didn't even know existed 3 years ago. "Get them medical attention," Grant ordered. "Full examination, trauma support, whatever they need. And someone get me Admiral Patricia Cole on encrypted comms, now." 30 minutes later, Grant sat alone in his ready room, the data chip's contents displayed across 3 screens. Kethran physiology, weak points in their exoskeletons, atmospheric requirements that differed enough from human baseline to be exploitable, 40 world coordinates, ship classifications, fleet movements, supply routes. And at the bottom, a video file labeled simply Testimony. He played it. Angela's face appeared, filmed in what looked like a storage closet, plasma burns visible on her shoulder. Behind her, distant sounds of battle echoed. "My name is Dr. Angela Price. If you're watching this, it means the pods made it. It means the children survived." She paused, steadied herself. 3 years ago, the Kethrans raided New Sacramento. Took 200 of us, mostly workers, families, anyone who couldn't run fast enough. They called us livestock, worked us in their processing plants, their mining operations, beat us when we slowed down, killed us when we broke. Her voice remained clinical, detached, the way doctors spoke about terrible things to maintain sanity. 6 months ago, they took a girl named Claire, 12 years old. She had a cat, a stray she'd found on the ship. The only piece of home any of us had left. Today, a Kethran Warden killed that cat for no reason except cruelty, and Claire stood up. Angela's composure cracked slightly. "We always knew we'd probably die on that ship. But Claire reminded us we could choose how. We could die on our knees, or we could die taking every single one of them with us. The choice was easy." She leaned closer to the camera. "The Kethrans think humans are weak. They think we're primitive. They've been raiding Earth for 3 years and nobody on the surface even knows because they only take the vulnerable, the isolated, the ones who won't be missed immediately. They have an empire, hundreds of ships, thousands of slaves from dozens of worlds." Her eyes hardened. "But they've never fought a species that weaponizes grief. They don't understand that we'll burn everything down if you hurt the wrong person. That data chip has everything you need to hurt them back. Use it. Find their worlds. Free their slaves. Show them what happens when you make humanity angry." The video ended. Grant sat in silence for a long moment. Then he opened a comm channel. "Admiral Cole." The Admiral's face appeared, sharp-featured and skeptical. "Captain Grant." This better be worth interrupting fleet maneuvers. "Ma'am, we have a first contact situation. Hostile. They've been abducting humans for at least 3 years. We have survivors, intelligence, and coordinates." Cole's expression shifted from annoyance to focused attention in a heartbeat. "Send everything to Fleet Command immediately." "How many abductors are we talking about?" "An empire, ma'am. 40 worlds confirmed. Unknown total ships. They call themselves Kethrans. Unknown total ships. And our people? 30. 2 survivors recovered. Approximately 170 confirmed killed in action after orchestrating a successful rebellion that destroyed an enemy capital ship. Grant's voice hardened. They died fighting, ma'am. Took every alien bastard with them. Cole was quiet for 3 seconds. Prep the survivors for full debrief. I'm calling an emergency session with the Security Council. If what you're telling me is accurate, Earth just learned it's not alone in the universe. Yes, ma'am. And ma'am? The aliens made a mistake. What's that? They thought we were livestock. The survivors made sure they died knowing different. Cole's smile was razor thin. Then let's make sure the rest of their empire learns the same lesson. Cole out. Grant returned to the cargo bay where Ethan sat with the other children, wrapped in blankets, holding each other. The boy looked up as he approached. Did she help? Dr. Angela's information? Grant knelt down to eye level. Son, what Dr. Angela gave us is going to change everything. Because of her, because of Claire, because of everyone who fought on that ship, humanity now knows we're not alone. And we know exactly where to find the ones who hurt our people. Are you going to fight them? Yes. Good. Ethan's young face held ancient fury. Make them sorry. For Ginger, Claire, for all of them. Grant stood, looked at every survivor in that bay. I promise you, he said quietly. Before this is over, the Kethrans will wish they'd never learned Earth existed. Outside the viewport, the debris field glittered in Earth's sunlight. Somewhere in that wreckage, mixed with alien metal and human remains, was the body of an orange cat. The galaxy was about to learn what that meant. 6 months later, the Kethran Empire learned fear. The attack on Harvester Station came without warning. One moment the facility orbited peacefully above the mining colony of Cathay. 7, processing resources from 3 enslaved species. The next, human warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the system's edge. Not retrofitted cargo haulers anymore. Real warships, built in the orbital foundries that had sprung up around Earth like angry wasps around a disturbed nest. Humanity had spent 6 months doing nothing but preparing for this moment. Admiral Cole stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution, watching tactical displays update in real time. 40 ships in her fleet. Small by Kethran standards, but every vessel carried weapons designed from Angela's data, calibrated to exploit every biological weakness the doctor had documented. All ships report ready, her tactical officer announced. Open a channel to the station, Cole ordered. A Kethran administrator appeared on screen, compound eyes reflecting confusion and the first hints of panic. Unknown vessels. You are in violation of Kethran territorial space. Identify yourself or be destroyed. Cole's expression could have frozen stars. This is Admiral Patricia Cole of the United Earth Space Command. 6 months ago, your people attacked New Sacramento. You took 200 humans as slaves. 32 survived. 170 died destroying your ship rather than submit. The administrator's mandibles twitched. We have taken many species. Your complaint is not unique. Then let me make this unique. Cole leaned forward. You have 60 seconds to release every human captive on that station and transmit their locations to my ships. After that, we stop asking. You dare threaten the Kethran Empire? We have 1,000 ships. You have 40. 59 seconds. The administrator made a sound that might have been laughter. Primitives. Our fleet will crush you. Our empire spans 40 worlds while you cling to one. You cannot win. We don't need to win, Cole said softly. We just need you to hurt. 30 seconds. The channel cut off from the Kethran side. Alert klaxons wailed across Harvester Station as defensive systems activated. 8 Kethran warships broke orbit, forming a defensive screen. Cole watched the countdown reach 0. Execute. The human fleet moved, not like traditional naval formations, but like a pack of wolves, each ship independently targeting weak points identified in Angela's files. Kinetic penetrators punched through Kethran shields at frequencies that resonated with their energy matrices. Chemical warheads deployed payloads that reacted violently with the specific atmosphere mix Kethrans required. The first alien warship died in 90 seconds, its bridge atmosphere ignited by a compound Sophie had spent her last hours perfecting. The second lost containment when human torpedoes targeted the exact structural points Victor had identified. The third tried to retreat and ran straight into a minefield that shouldn't have existed because humans weren't supposed to understand Kethran sensor technology. But they did now. Angela had made sure of that. On Harvester Station, alarms shrieked as human boarding pods latched onto the hull. Marines poured through breached airlocks, moving with tactical precision that came from 6 months of nothing but training and rage. Lieutenant Jake Morrison led his squad through corridors built for creatures larger than humans, using that size difference for cover and speed. His HUD displayed structural weak points, atmospheric controls, exactly where to place charges for maximum effect. They found the human prisoners in Processing Bay 3, 47 people, emaciated and scarred, chained to workstations. A Kethron overseer raised a weapon. Morrison's squad cut it down before it could fire. "We're United Earth Marines," Morrison announced. "You're going home." An older man, missing 3 fingers, stared at him like he was a hallucination. "Earth sent warships?" "Earth sent a fleet, sir. 40 ships. More coming. The Kethrans took our people. We are taking them back." The man started crying. Morrison's squad moved through the station systematically, following schematics pulled from the data chip. They found Tarlian slaves, a species conquered 80 years ago. Found Vrosk workers, taken from a world that had fallen 3 decades back. Found a dozen other species, all broken. All certain rescue was impossible. The Marines freed them all. In orbit, the last Kethron warship tried to jump to faster than light. The Retribution's weapons officer, a woman named Kelly, who'd lost her sister in the New Sacramento raid, fired the experimental gravity disruptor that human scientists had built based on Kethron power core specifications. The alien ship tore itself apart as its drive activated against disrupted space-time. Cole watched it die without expression. Status on civilian recovery? All human captives secured and aboard transports. Lieutenant Morrison reports multiple other species found in bondage. Requests permission to extract. Cole didn't hesitate. Granted. Take them all. Anyone who wants freedom gets it. Ma'am, the treaty protocols state we should focus solely on human recovery. There is no treaty with slavers, Cole said flatly. Anyone who wants off that station gets passage. Morrison knows what to do. 20 minutes later, Harvester Station was empty of living beings. Cole gave the order, destroy it. The station came apart under sustained bombardment, breaking into fragments that would burn up in Keth 7's atmosphere. The human fleet regrouped, damage minimal, objectives achieved. Then Cole opened a general broadcast on all Kethran frequencies. "This is Admiral Patricia Cole. 6 months ago you took humans from Earth. You called us livestock. You beat us, worked us to death, threw away our lives like we didn't matter. Today we came for our people. Tomorrow we come for yours." She paused. "Let that sink in across 40 Kethran worlds. We have your coordinates. We know your weaknesses. We've studied how you bleed. Every human you've ever taken, we're coming to collect. Every species you've enslaved, we're setting free. You wanted to know what humans are? We're the thing you created when you struck the cat." She cut the transmission. The fleet jumped to faster than light, leaving only wreckage behind. On the refugee transport, Morrison sat with the freed captives. The older man with missing fingers approached him. "Why?" the man asked. "Why risk this for 47 people?" Morrison thought of Claire, of Angela, of 170 humans who'd chosen death over submission. "Because you're ours," he said simply. "And we don't leave our people behind. Not anymore." Across the Kethran Empire, administrators and fleet commanders received the same message, watched the same footage of Harvester Station's destruction, read the same analysis that confirmed the impossible. Humans, the primitives from the single backward world, had just declared war on an empire, and they'd won the opening battle. In the Kethran High Council chambers, the Supreme Commander reviewed casualty reports with mounting dread. "Recommendations?" he demanded. "Avoid human space. Cut our losses. They have perhaps 60 warships total. We have thousands. Let them have their one system." The Supreme Commander's mandibles clicked in thought. Around him, the ruins of an empire built on casual cruelty began to crack. One warden had struck one cat. Now the